Luke, known on YouTube here as Thunderhead289, and I noticed on my Facebook page, one of the biggest things is ignition timing for one, but the second argument that I see brought up a lot is ported vacuum versus manifold vacuum. Now personally, I'm a ported vacuum guy. That's what I prefer to run, and I'll explain why here very briefly. So basically, to start off, the only difference between manifold vacuum and ported vacuum on a carburetor is that at idle, ported vacuum is not adding any vacuum advance into your timing. You're on your mechanical initial timing only. Now when you hook your vacuum advance into manifold vacuum at idle, you have your mechanical advance, and then on top of that, then you have your vacuum advance. Now vacuum advance canisters typically have 15 or so degrees of ignition timing advance, and what I've found is that most cars run best with just total initial timing of 15 degrees or so, somewhere between 12 to 20 degrees of timing depending on cam specs, compression ratios and whatever. There's things that play into that, and I'll go over here very briefly how I set all those vehicles up. It's the same process for every single thing. So with that timing, if you hook to manifold vacuum and then get everything set right where it's not too much advance, if you pin your throttle from a stop, what's going to happen is that vacuum advance is going to be pulled out because it's ran by vacuum. When you step on your throttle, your vacuum drops. Now you're only on your mechanical timing, and so when you have it pinned, now you don't have enough initial timing, and it's going to fall flat on its face, and that's why I don't like it. So ported vacuum, again, it's not adding any vacuum at idle or any ignition advance at idle, and you're just on your mechanical timing. So how I set up my ignition timing with a carburetor, I'm a big proponent of the whole transfer slot piece, which we're not going to get into that today. I have a lot of videos on my channel that discuss transfer slots, which they're right here on the underside of your carburetor. But anyway, you want to make all these adjustments when your engine is warm and your choke is fully open. So if your choke's not fully open, you're messing with your throttle settings. So you need to be on your curb idle screw only. Choke is completely factored out when you make these adjustments. But basically, a really quick way, if you're afraid to take your carburetor off, is you can hook a vacuum gauge to your ported vacuum port. And so, again, basically this should have no vacuum at idle. Now if you overexpose your transfer slots, open your throttle too much, you'll start seeing vacuum on your ported port. And we all know that that's not how it's supposed to work. So basically what I do is I adjust my curb idle screw until my throttle position is such that at the moment that I don't see any additional, or I don't see any vacuum off of my ported port. At that point, your transfer slots are within the range that they're supposed to be, and dynamically how the carburetor is designed to work, that's pretty good. That's really where you want to be at. So from there, all I do is I adjust my initial advance to get my desired RPM and then balance that against my mix screws. And this is the same method I use on Power Tour when I'm helping people around the side of the road, where we can get it set up really quick and be pretty good. But that's kind of how I set up my initial settings. I found that to work extremely well. You can universalize it across a lot of different platforms as far as different vehicles, truck engines, radical cam stuff, and it just seems to work very well. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. That's my perspective on the ported versus manifold vacuum. Again, remember, the only difference is at idle as far as when it's pulling in vacuum advance. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Take care. Catch you later.